Brought to you by ExpressCare Health and Skin Center. Get in, get out, get better.
Welcome back to Healthy Living. With the start of the new school year right around the corner, I'm sure there are many things a parent has to take care of. Tonight we are talking back to school health for kids. And joining me now is ExpressCare's Dr. Jitka Lom. Thank you,
Hi,
Doc.
nice to see you again.
Hi. Okay, so beginning of every school year, there's one thing that every parent has to do, and that is school physicals. So how often should a school physical be done?
Well, generally, it's whenever a child is switching schools, entering a new school, that the school will require a physical to make sure the child is healthy, that their vision and hearing are okay, and that they have no communicable diseases, especially TB. So we do a lot of TB tests as well during this time.
Okay. Now, during that physical, what routine checkups or what is actually what tests are done?
Yeah. Well, you know, we talk to the mom or the father or the mother and the child, and make sure that there's no outstanding health problems or issues that they're dealing with at that time. This can be anything from behavioral health, mental health, to their physical problems if they have asthma or you know, a skin problem, or some children might even have diabetes, anything that they're concerned about. And then we do check the child's hearing and vision to make sure that's okay, because of course for learning you need those things. They're so important. And little people, when they're 5 or 6 years old, it's sometimes hard to tell whether they can see and hear properly, and whether that's affecting their ability to speak and absorb information. And then another thing we do is check children's blood pressure. It's rare to have children with high blood pressure, but it can happen, and it's not something that you would commonly think of or commonly check. Then we go ahead and check the child from top to toe, check their head and neck and their inside their mouth to see if they have cavities, which is a very common thing. Again, sometimes parents haven't realized that their child does need to get to the dentist to get a checkup or to have cavities filled so that they can be healthy. And listen to their heart and lungs, listen for murmurs, any problems with asthma and so on, check their tummy. For boys, we'll check their private parts and make sure there's no hernias, especially if they're going to be playing football or rugby. And we check their joints to make sure there's no problems as they're growing. And finally, check their skin and see if they've got either facial acne or eczema or any other rashes that they need to be dealing with before they start school, some of which might be contagious, like ringworm.
Okay. So with the start of the school year, you know, students, they're going to be in school for like 8 hours a day, and they need to be attentive in class. So we want to find out how many hours of sleep is needed for that child to be attentive.
Yes, and it's so important. To be able to absorb and to learn, you really have got to have a good night's rest. So to answer the question, the earlier childhood years, say up to, let's say, 3rd or 4th grade, children should definitely be getting 8 hours of sleep a night. Some, the littlest ones need a nap, but once you're in 1st grade and so on, you really need to get 8 hours of sleep a night. And I really recommend for that age, and also the middle schoolers, that parents really try to turn off the TV or the screens, video games and all of that, at least an hour to 2 hours before bedtime, because those LED screens do interfere with our brain waves and do interfere with our ability to sleep, especially if we're being really highly stimulated with, an exciting video game. It's going to be hard to go to sleep. So instead, ask your child to read a book or review something from their homework or something like that before bedtime. Or even just play a game, board game, anything but TV and video games before bed, because it will interfere with their ability to rest well. The teenage years are the most difficult because the kids hate going to bed early and yet need the most sleep. In the teenage years, they do need 9 hours of sleep. That's hard to achieve for a teenager when they're busy and they've got after-school activities, and especially when they're texting during the evening. So try to keep that in mind so that your teenager can be rested, can learn, and can have a good mood as well.
Okay, another key aspect of ensuring that your child is getting the right education, is ensuring that they have the proper nutrients and nourishment.
Nutrition.
Yes. So can you share with us what are some ideal foods and snacks that we can pack in our child's lunch?
Sure. Before I get to the snacks, let me just emphasize how important breakfast is. The word breakfast means breaking the fast. That's the overnight time when your body is just using the stores of energy. And to wake up in the morning and to have your body kickstart and get into learning mode and performing mode you really need to eat breakfast. This does not have to be a complicated meal. It can be as simple as cutting up an apple and dipping it in some peanut butter. You've got a little bit of sugar there, a little bit of protein there, add an egg or a little wrap or a little piece of toast, something. Try to stay away from the sugary cereals for breakfast. That will give you a nice super high sugar high, and they'll wear off, and you'll be feeling like you're losing concentration in the mid-morning. So try to include some protein with the breakfast. So moving along to the snacks, if you can have something like nuts or peanut butter or cheese and a little snack along with some vegetables, something that has high water content, again, a fruit or really fruits and vegetables are the best snacks. This packaged snacks, the processed foods, cookies and so on, those are nice treats. They're sugar and they'll help, but it's better if you can have some protein in there. So again, nuts, a little bit of peanut butter, and an egg. These would all be good ideas.
All right. Okay. Now, lastly, I often see small kids with very large backpacks.
Right.
So how do we choose the right backpack?
Right. So
child?
the backpack can almost be like a little turtle moving with this huge backpack. Yeah. So there actually are national guidelines on backpacks, and first thing is choose a backpack so that your child wears it with both straps on their back rather than shifting like that. And then guidelines say it should definitely not be any more than 30 pounds in the backpack. For a little small child, it should be about 20 or less. So that makes it really hard with those big, huge textbooks, and roller bags are always a good option there, or splitting it into two bags, a little bit on the back and a little bit in the arm or on the hand, or in a roller bag. Trying to avoid those heavy backpacks that children wear like this, because it does affect their spine. Their spine will be twisted, and you can actually look at children. That's another thing we do when we do their physical, is to check their spine for scoliosis, which is a twisting, curving of the spine.
All right, thank you, Doc, for your
You're welcome.
information. Well, stay tuned. The Doc takes some of your questions when Healthy Living returns.